Before we get into some more technical concepts, we need to talk about the basics in Arena. This is the information you need to be aware of when you're just starting out and trying to figure out what to do or what your game plan should be. So the first point is making sure that you always try to get maximum value out of your tank. People neglect their tanks, especially new players. They think they're not that important, or when a certain round comes around, they might just pass to save energy for their midline and backline instead of using that energy to get more value and defend and maybe steal an energy from the opponent. So this is a very common mistake. You need to be thinking, how can I most effectively use my plant before it dies? That doesn't mean just playing cards blindly immediately in round one. We're going to get more into specifics in terms of how to time your moves, but it is certainly a point worth noting that they are very often neglected, and it's something that we need to avoid. Next up is going to be timing your cards properly depending on what build your opponent is running. For instance, using this midline beast, I have Goda, which destroys energy, and Rice, which steals it. It's not always the best idea to just spam these in round one and hope that our opponent passes and we take all their energy. In certain matchups, we're going to want to conserve these, and I have a replay that I'll be showing in just a minute to illustrate what I'm talking about here. And lastly, it is critical that in most situations we hold our backline cards. That doesn't mean that we're not going to play some of them in the early going, but you don't just want to be clicking buttons and spamming your high damage backline moves or your zero costs. You don't have infinite cards in Axie Infinity. There's actually a system to how it works, and you'll end up being depleted in the late game if you just play all of these blindly. You want to have options going into the 1v1, so you want to get the maximum value out of the tank and the midliner before heading into a 1v1 scenario with your backline Axie. And again, I'm going to be breaking down how all of this works in this module, as well as when we get into our live gameplay in Arena execution. To round out this first lesson, I'll be showing you a game that I actually played last night with one of the Beast Reptile floor teams that we just covered at the end of our team building lesson. This is my 47 speed midline Rice Goda Beast, 48 speed backliner. Admittedly, this does lack some damage because these are aqua cards, which are going to do a little bit less on a reptile, but I believe this was like dirt cheap at the very floor, so I thought it'd be fun to play an arena game or two and see how it all performed. Now, I know I'm fighting an uphill battle in this one because double aqua should on paper kind of destroy this team. He gets through my tank, kills my beast, and then my reptile. The one thing I do have is the speed advantage. I'm able to slow him with lagging and get speed up with goldfish. So even though he has koi, I can shift the momentum there pretty easily. All that being said, I do play all three beast cards because I know I'm in an unfavorable matchup, and time is of the essence in terms of getting value out of this beast since I have two aquas that can just blow right by him. Now our opponent gets a great round one. He gets high damage in on our tank and plays pumpkins, so we don't have the greatest attack in the first round there. We steal no energy, so I'm not feeling too enthusiastic at this point. But this is a great example of round two, where some players might be tempted to play the Rice and Jaguar that they just drew on the beast, right? Now we have another high damage beast moveset that we can play, but that would have definitely been a mistake. Instead, I go with my two plant cards here in Sirius and Hatsun. This is going to give me enough shield to survive in case he plays, an aqua card and the high damage beast horn. If he passes, I'm at least going to steal an energy to slow him down slightly. And if he does something weird like this, I'm not really sure what his game plan here was by playing just the single risky fish. Nonetheless, this really worked out for us. He plays one card, we steal the other energy, putting him at 2 energy next round, and we do a little damage as well with our plant, making life easier on our beast to close out and get the kill on this frontline tank. Okay, so now things are starting to look a little bit better for us. We know our opponent has 2 energy, we're keeping track of that, and we're in round 3 where our tank could definitely get taken down here. This is the type of round where a lot of players, especially as you're coming up the ranks, they might not be paying attention to the fact that your beast has these steals, and they'll throw a Nemo into the mix here to make sure they stock up on energy heading into the mid game. I felt like it was a pretty good time to try to play the timing on that with the Rice Jaguar. Of course, I need to take out this plant anyway. So I'm using 2 beast cards to do it. I'm saving the 1 aqua card that I have on this beast, as this is actually going to perform better than any of the beast cards I have when attacking another aqua. Aqua on aqua damage is better than beast on aqua damage because beasts have the class disadvantage there. So I go with my 2 beast cards. He actually does play a Nemo, aqua, and beast damage card to get rid of my tank, and then boom, we shift the momentum. We steal with Rice, and that is a very nicely timed move on what I like to call a transition round. So there we were kind of getting ready to move into a different phase of the game with the tanks getting eliminated, and that is a very common timing for the energy gains to get played. People want to get the value out of the energy gain before their midline dies, so they might feel a sense of urgency there, as our opponent seems to have felt here, and play it, which gives you the chance to then take it right away with a move like Rice or Goda, where you can destroy his energy. So I'm definitely still keeping track of energy here, and I'm aware that he only has 2, which means I'm safe to play these 2 beast cards that I just drew and get even more value out of this midline. This is in keeping with the theme of getting maximum value before the 1v1. As you've noticed, I haven't played a single backliner card in this game yet, which is really important and quite necessary since I'm in a matchup that doesn't favor my team. If I knew that he had 3 energy, this play would be too risky because 3 aqua cards is enough to kill a beast, especially if he has one that has an attack bonus and he has maybe an extra Nemo lying around to knock me out of a last stand or finish me off if I end up being very low HP from his 3 aqua cards. But because I know he has 2, I'm going to squeeze the value out of this beast and play these 2 cards. And I also do start to chuck on backline cards as well in an attempt to get the kill on this midliner. I have 4 energy, but I also have a 0 cost, which does a little extra damage for free. And my thinking here is that I can probably get it done. So he plays his other Nemo. He's probably aware of the fact that with 4 energy, I should have a killing blow on his midliner. So he's at least trying to get value here. So he plays the Nemo. We go with the 2 damage cards and the free damage in lagging, and then follow up with the beast. And it looks like we're actually just short. No, I think we do get the kill. We destroy the energy that he just gained, by the way, with Goda. So there's the other thing with timing working out perfectly, limiting the energy. That is the real beauty of this build of the Rice Goda, is that you control the pace of the game, as we can see here. And we played the Ranchu, which applies chill to the enemy. That means that he cannot last stand here. If we get him to 0 HP, he will completely get snapped off. And I think our clamshell, it does 116. He had 111, I believe, and we squeak out the kill. So this game so far has really highlighted efficiency. He overplays a little bit here. I think he's in a bit of a panic, and maybe even some frustration is starting to set in, considering he got no use out of his Nemos in this game. And of course, I just pass. I let my beast go down. I'm now up to 4 energy. He's at 2, and there's really nothing that he can do. He's going to try to speed up with 2 kois here, but because I have the moveset that I do, all I need to be concerned about, I don't even spend all 4 of my energy. I know he has 2 energy. He cannot kill me, so I let him hit me. I play both laggings to get rid of his koi buff, and I also played Goldfish this round, which has sped me up to flip things around here in round 7. I am now going first. He is going second. I've got 4 energy again for a killing blow, and we can just chomp right on through and snap this guy off. Even if we didn't chomp through, it still would have been too much firepower for him. And there you have it. That is a great example of the basics of what we're trying to do in an arena game in terms of timing and garnering as much value out of our front and midline axis before heading into the 1v1. Of course, this is going to change depending on your build. If you have a backline axis like a bird that has backdoor killing potential, you might need to rip that off in round 2 if you get the combination. So every build is different, but for the most part, these are principles that you are going to want to be following. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the 2 most fundamental practices that you need to get into the habit of doing, which is counting cards and counting energy. No pro player is going into an arena game without trying to do these 2 things. I look forward to breaking this one down for you. I will see you there.